Welcome to another section of our food forest, fellow preppers. This area has an abundance of berries growing in it, besides other wild edibles. If you did not know where to look, you might walk right by them. I would just want to do a little scan here. At a quick glance, without going back into the briars very deeply, just pretty much staying right on the path here at the edge of our upper hayfield, there must be 50 or so ripe berries just in the little spot of this viewer as I'm tilting you around. When you're on a trail in a survival situation, you need to keep your eyes peeled because you think the red berries that aren't quite ripened or even the pretty shaded purple ones are going to jump right out at you, and this shows you that they definitely will not do that all the time. If we can look up just a little bit, you will see there's a nice tall oak tree above this patch of berries, like with the wild carrots and the ironweed and the stinging nettles. Berries often grow in the shade of an oak tree. It gives them sun, but yet it protects them from the intense rays. I'm going to pick a couple off of here just to show you. They are prickly, and I am not wearing gloves as I recommended and should, but I wasn't going on a deep berry hunt today. This is the difference between an unripened berry that is still viable and the berries I showed you in the prior video that got scorched by the sun. See, it's soft, it's smushy, still has juice to it. When you press on it, it collapses, and it will get juice and stain on your fingers. This is a red berry that's not quite ripe yet that will continue to grow, that I just wasted. This one, now the red berries are safe to eat, they're just not very good. You eat too many of them, you get a stomach ache. You eat too many ripened berries on an empty stomach or not having eaten for quite a while, for days on end especially, you can still get a stomach ache. This one's more purple because all of the red has not turned yet. So it's closer to being ripe. It's still going to be tart, but it will also have a little bit of sweetness to it. And these ones are ripe and ready to go. This is a little bit lighter shade of purple. These are black raspberries. And this one's pretty well black. The blackest one is the most ripe and will probably taste the most sweet here in about 30 seconds when I go ahead and pop it into my mouth. I'm not going to waste these ones. But these ones came off nice and clean. You guys want to check the underneath. One for bugs, which depending on the survival situation, maybe you think they're extra protein. But also to make sure there aren't any briars attached. So you can just walk through here. You can walk down this path for a 20-foot stretch and pick you a nice snack, something to keep you going till you find other wild edibles, until you reach where you're going, until you perhaps decide you can set a trap for an animal, hunt for an animal, or go fishing. Wild edibles like these, there's plenty of wild greens right here too, can sustain you, though not any protein, until you find a more viable food source. But look in the shady areas, even if it's an area you think like this one, if I can scan out, and hopefully this stabilizer on this video is going to keep you from getting seasick. Here's what the rest of the pasture area near it looks like. Big open, big sunny area coming off of where I was along the fence line with the berries that withered on the vine. This upper pasture is probably 15 acres. I probably went an acre, maybe two. And it's a lot shadier over here all day long. It does get sun, but not as intense. And I stayed along the same fence line, same brush growing around them, same trees hovering above them. But this is just an overall far more shady spot. So they are thriving here. It may take them longer to come on than if they were in a sunnier spot, but you'll have fewer of them that go to waste and wither on the vine. And they're a bit more secluded like this. The birds tend to not find them as much as the ones that are growing out in the open. We tend to lose a lot of berries to birds. And for us, our chickens and goats do not range up this far, so we don't lose a lot to our free-range animals. The chickens and ducks love them, the goats love them, and they can eat a vine empty in about 3 minutes flat. So if you do free-range animals on your survival homestead, and you do have some wild berries, you want to get more into foraging, or you want to plant some berry bushes, I would suggest that you chicken wire or hardware cloth around them to keep your animals back from them. And you will have an edible food source that will just keep growing. You can just take a few of these seeds, like I threw the other ones out and said I wasted them. We could have a new berry bush technically grow where they are come next year. That can happen with the birds too when they eat them and plop their waste down somewhere else on your farm. You can also have some berry bushes pop up in unusual places. You think you've spot all your berry bushes and you've scoured them all out, and then poof, there's some that where you don't even think they would be. Our berry bushes that are along the creek this year, the ones that survived, are probably not going to produce. We had intense flooding, and those were our biggest producers along the creek bank. And it was shady, partially sunny. They had protection from the birds and other predators that come and eat the bushes off. My goats will eat the bush thorns and all. So it's a good protective spot. It's great soil, the right amount of moisture, except for this year we had an overabundance of moisture with flooding and had some creek bank erosion too. So we probably will have about 30 less berry bushes to pick this year. And that's one of the reasons I recommend not just planning on gardening, because our garden got flooded, our main growing plot, not all of them, and long-term storage food, and even hunting and fishing, because game will be overly taxed. Anything can go wrong environmentally with a fire, with marauders. So to supplement your survival plan, learning how to forage on what is on your own land plus what is in your own local or regional area can make a difference during a survival situation when you've had to flee or you're stuck away from home trying to get your way home from work or somewhere else. You know what to find, you can spot it, know what you can eat.